Even your emotion had an echo with so much space. Many of them like you, I was out of tune. But it wasn't because I didn't know. Just not too much. Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? Possibly. I hope that you're having the time of your life. Think twice. That's only advice. Who do you think you are?
Hello, everybody. Happy Monday, everyone. Let's talk about it. Hope you guys slept well last night and you're ready for a brand new day. Guys, let's recap because I think every so often there comes a time as citizens you sort of step up to the plate and do everything within your power to be a citizen, to be a responsible citizen. Of course, we're not suggesting that we are the be all and end all. That's not what I'm suggesting. What I am saying, though, is that when things happen a certain way and you're not happy with it and you have a voice, as long as your information is accurate, it's correct, it's sound, it's noble, speak up, say something. You know that old saying, when you see something, you say something. Okay, before we begin, a few shout outs to you. Oh, goodness, look at this. A few shout outs to you guys. Hello, Wezzy. Hi, Wezzy. Good morning to you. Somebody's watching from the Copper Belt. Wilson. Hi, Wilson from the Copper Belt. Sam. My dear friend, Sam. Thank you so much. Somebody says you're on time today, which is a rarity. Okay, sometimes I'm not on time. Actually, the truth is most of the time I'm not on time, and I'm not proud to say that. Okay, I'm ashamed to say that. Somebody says, Mr. Moore, you are punctual. Hello from Sydney. Ali Muhammad Jockey. Hey, how are you? It's good to see you. Thank you so much, guys. Let's get into this real quick, and I think, as I said, it is the duty of every responsible Zambian citizen. When you see certain things going wrong, you talk about it. As long as I said, as long as your complaint is sound, you may not get it 100%, but as long as it's sound, as long as it makes sense, it's very important to speak up and to speak out. Many of you know that this last few days ago, I came on here and I talked to you about the pharmaceutical industry in Zambia. And I must tell you right off the bat, without mincing any words, without pulling any punches, let me state very clearly and very categorically, there is a deliberate Asian Zambian syndicate that is controlling the pharmaceutical industry, and they are doing it with our eyes wide shut. In other words, people see it happening, but nobody says anything. Let me recap and say to you that the truth is, and this is the truth, this is the absolute truth. The truth is, in the past, the Zambian government was buying pharmaceuticals from private Indian companies. And Zambian Indians were buying medicine, the medicine that you and I go to the pharmacy to buy, the medicine that the hospitals procure. They were buying medicine from their fellow Indians in India at inflated prices. This is a fact. We didn't just wake up one morning and start pronouncing things that came out of our heads because we had too much Kentucky Fried Chicken last night. No, this is a fact. This is happening. And you must also understand that the regulatory body here in Zambia, I said all this last week, but it's very important for us to reiterate. It's important for us to say it again. To reiterate means to emphasize the point again. The regulatory body here in Zambia, called ZAMRA. ZAMRA is tasked. They are the custodians of inspection in as far as pharmaceutical drugs are concerned. They're the ones that look at the drugs and say, okay, this is good for our people to consume. It's sound, it's correct, it meets the required standards, let it through. This body here, the Zambia Medical Regulatory Authority has been compromised by the cartel, and that is the truth. It's worrisome. It's worrisome. The Ministry of Health has a budget of 4.6 billion kwacha annually. And the Zambian Asian cartel, they want all of it. Every single drop of it. At what expense? Let me be clear and tell you that right now, the deal that we've been having in the past, this has been happening for years. It didn't just start happening now. It's been happening since the MMD days. It's been happening since the PF days. A remnant of this is happening today as you and I sit here and speak. It's happening right now. You've got a situation where the Zambian government, through the Ministry of Health, through the Office of the Permanent Secretary, is making deals with private pharmaceutical companies in India that do not meet the requirements, and they're doing it with the connections, through the connections of the Zambian Indian cartel that are using their friends in India to supply Zambia with drugs. And in many cases, these drugs are substandard, they do not meet the requirement, and you and I are sitting there twiddling our thumbs, holding hands, singing Kumbaya, and we're tiptoeing through the tulips like there's no tomorrow. Brothers and sisters, we're in a mess. We are. Now, let me say something to you here that is very sensitive, but you know, we have to say it. I got a call a few days ago. Got a call and from the cartel. And they were very upset with me. They were very angry. And they said, well, we're going to finish you. We are going to destroy you. We are going to put a line through your name instead of under it. Mwewa, you will be a rumor. Now, let me explain something to you. You see, the advantage that the Indian Zambian cartel has, many of these guys have dual citizenship. Okay, in other words, they've got 1 foot in India and then 1 foot here in Zambia, which is fine. You know, I mean, that's fine because the law says you can have two different, you can be a citizen of 2 different countries, and that's fine. But here's my thought. If something were to happen in Zambia, if Zambia all of a sudden became a failed state, okay, for instance, I'm just giving you an example. If for one day we wake up and, you know, Zambia is all of a sudden ungovernable, Do you know what our friends would do? They'd simply hop on a bus, a plane, and fly to India. Where would you and I go? I don't know about you, but I don't have anywhere else to go. This is the only country I have. I don't want to be a refugee anywhere else. I don't. My point is, we have the right to discuss matters pertaining to the health and the security of our nation. Brothers and sisters, it is our birthright. Are you hearing that? Far be it from anyone to call me and say, well, we're going to finish you. In a country of my soil, where I was born, bred, and raised. If there's a problem, let's talk about it. And brothers and sisters, make no mistake, there is a problem. And it's no longer acceptable to tiptoe through the tulips. It's no longer acceptable to walk through this Zambian life as if there's nothing going on. That is no longer acceptable. And you must know that. And so when we speak the way we speak, it's not because we hate anybody. I mean, guys, listen, I'm 50, I just turned 54. I'm 54 years old. At my age, I know everybody. There's 6 degrees of separation between me and everyone. Because Osaka, a small town, we all know each other. And because we know each other, it's very possible to offend someone that you know. And there are lots of people within the cartel that I probably went to school with. I knew their parents. My parents knew their parents. But the bottom line is that when we talk about the sanctity and the functionality and the wholeness of a country, it is not just up to the guys in parliament to deal with that. No, it's up to you and I to speak out against things that we see are wrong. If India is sending us substandard drugs, and make no mistake, India is not sending their best. Under the current Asian Zambian cartel, I can tell you categorically, I can tell you without any fear of contradiction or equivocation, India is not sending us their best. They're not. And because they're not sending us their best, the onus, the responsibility is on you and I to demand better. Are you hearing that? It is to demand better, to want better. Why? Because we deserve it. We deserve it. See, we can't be living in a country where substandard drugs are being brought into the country. We can't live in a country where efficacy is non-existent. You know what efficacy is? The effectiveness of the medicine. Washita panado, wawika mu pantry. After 4 days, chipanado chafita. And you just sit there, oh, chafita, chavipa. Ni panado, noir. Washita cough syrup. Uleti wanwa, wafinwa. Uleti fia, Wanwa, uleti fia, There's no efficacy. You've got a situation where drugs are being flown into the country via private arrangements and private agreements with the PSs of these ministries. And they're being flown into the country because some PS, and this is why HH has been firing these guys, some PFs is making deals with private pharmaceutical companies in India. You keep something for me. Keep a 10% since I've identified your company as the one that will supply Zambia with Panado. You know what I'm paying? Got 10%. And you think that's normal? You think that's right? It's not. It's a disaster, is what it is. And let me tell you, and I said it last time, and I'll say it again, and please forgive my repetitiveness, but it bears repeating. It is absolutely imperative that this is said over and over and over again until the right people hear it. And it's this: you can't deal with the procurement of drugs in the way that they've been doing it. They can't do it. They can't keep doing it at the level at which they're doing it. They can't keep doing it in the way that they've been doing it. Something has to change. We're talking about the health of a country. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the wholeness of a nation. And then here it is, you've got these guys running around, riding on the backs of substandard drugs that have been inflated, and the ministry just pays. These are Zambians. I said it last time, I'll say it again. That's the attitude. Ma Zambians, fiari puarara. Fitumine fiama drugs ayo. Not kwata inside the muria muchiteni muria. Not kwata PS permanent secretary. Not mushta. Abena Zamra not mushta. Vara fideta. Just pay them. They're just Zambians anyway. Tababerenga na ukuberenga. Bena bafwa ka chekerako. Send the people like Abena Honey Bee, all those chaps who are fronts. And you'll never see the real guys, but you'll see Tuba Zambians. Those Zambians who are fronts are not even members on the board. They are nowhere. They are not even registered directors in these companies. They're not. Tuma fronts, Chabe. And you think that's normal. And you think that's right. Well, honey, the boat is being shook. Okay, it's actually shaken, but in South Louisiana, they say shook. The boat is being shook. And this is the reason this administration is being fought left, right, and center from within the civil service. There are people that are deliberately slowing the turning process of the functionality of the Ministry of Health, deliberately slowing the process to frustrate these guys who are trying to do the right thing for our nation. Deliberately. The government that recently sent the Ministry of Health to Egypt, that was a public trip. There was nothing secretive about that trip. Anytime a minister of health goes and does the bidding of the government, those are public engagements. There's nothing secretive about going to Egypt and attempting to broker a better deal for the Zambian people, because that's what it is. It is an effort to broker a better deal for the Zambian people. But you got guys in the system, because the system is so rotten, the system is so filthy, the swamp has to be drained. It's very difficult to fight corruption in that type of environment, but it has to be done. It has to be done. Which brings me to the Public Procurement Act of 2020. Now, let me just focus for a moment on the requirements for a foreign bidder to partner with a citizen bidder on international procurement agreements. Okay, international procurement means, stuff that is coming out of from outside coming into Zambia. Let me tell you that right now, there is an act in Parliament that the cartel are trying to amend. To amend means to change. I want you to listen to me very carefully because, one of the problems with Zambians is that tatuverenga, by and large, Zambians don't read. We just kind of walk through life, as long as you have something for today. But there are a few clued up people who take advantage of that ignorance. Let me tell you a story. Before I continue this thought, let me share this with you. The first settlers in America that found the American Indians, these are the people that when they went to America, they came upon the American shores and they found these people called the Indians. The American Red Indians is what they called them. Okay. One of the ways they described the Indians in America was this way. They said, these American Indians are very nice people. They don't care about property. They don't care about taking advantage of somebody else. They're a community. They love each other. An American Indian will take his coat off and give it to a brother without a thought of getting it back. There's a sense of cohesive community. They love each other. They're nice people. And then they said this: they would make brilliant slaves. It's the same thing with Zambians. Zambians are nice people. We're nice. We're so nice. We're so nice that when people come here and they see the loopholes and they see that if much then if you so let's take advantage of ukupwalala. So here it is. Let me get back to this. There is a cartel right now that is trying to pay off lawmakers, members of parliament, to amend the Public Procurement Act of 2020. And this is what the proposed amendment states. The proposed amendment states to supply goods and services of specialized nature without having to partner with citizens. In other words, a foreign company can come here, set up a business, and they can do it free range without the involvement, without the incorporation of a Black citizen, Black Zambian, or Zambian citizen. That's bad. That's not good. Okay? To put it to you simply, plainly, and purely, that's a bad thing. If you go to South Africa today, there's not one foreign company that can go into South Africa, establish a company without having to partner with a citizen. Unheard of in South Africa. Unheard of. Doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. But here it is in Zambia. You've got this cartel that is courting right now, this moment as we speak, courting members of parliament to amend this act so that this part is removed. They want this to be removed so that companies can just come to Zambia and just set up with whoever without the involvement of you as a citizen of this country. That's the plan. It's the cartel. And you as a Zambian, all the economic strength and power is in the hands of somebody else. And then you get upset when we come here and talk about it. But umwina Zambia, nga turaenda pali abena mutale Mwanza. Furu. Chachina. Turaenda pali Benirombe. Mwina Zambia, who should you go to? Should you go to your maps or Uyukofi Anano, whatever his name is? But when it comes to pertinent issues of the teeter that balance on life and death, you are completely ignorant. You are completely dwanzi. You are in the dark. Dear, oh dear. Unbelievable. Something has to change. We need reform. It should not be business as usual. We only have one country. Do you understand that? Are you hearing that? We only have Zambia. We can't mess it up, okay? If things go wrong here, if for some reason the nation becomes derelict, if for some reason the nation becomes ungovernable, we have nowhere to go. I mean, for you that have dual citizenship, I'm sure you just get on a plane, you just call your friend, Ishmael Banchot, we're going back to India. What does Banchot mean? What does that mean? Doesn't that mean hell no or something? My point is, for those of you that have dual citizenship, if something happens to us here, you guys have the luxury to go wherever the hell you want. We don't. We only have this country. Do you understand that? This country. All right. That's what I wanted to tell you. Had it on my heart to share that with you. I know you're upset, but oh well. What else is new? Thanks for watching, guys. That's all we have. Bye.